Okay, so welcome everyone. We had a very interesting beginning of the class, I would say. So now we're going to get into the actual stuff. Our agenda for today, we're going to start out with the pre-session Kahoot, go into introductions, go into the lecture, which is the boring part, and then we're going to have a game at the end. So let's start off with the Kahoot. How much do you guys know already? Wait, no, I clicked the wrong thing. Okay, there we go. Host. Then do classic. And then we'll wait for it to load. All right, so get into the Kahoot, everyone. Do you guys want music?
Yes.
Okay. Let me share screen though. Or share sound. Okay. I'm gonna change it to indie pop. Okay, just kidding. How about disco? 80s? Okay, let's do 80s. Oh, dang. Yes, good job, people who suggested 80s. Okay. Let's wait like a couple more minutes. Or, yeah. Mason just sent 3 emojis or brackets. I don't know what, but I'm very confused right now. Okay. I'm gonna give everyone 1 more minute and then we'll start. But if I leave you behind, like just tell me. Oh no, someone left. Someone rejoined. Okay. So I'm gonna start now. Is everyone in?
No, I'm still typing in the thing.
Okay. Yeah, if you're not in yet, just let me know and I'll wait. Okay, is everyone good?
No.
Okay. Okay, yeah. Ethan, just let me know when you're in. I feel like I keep accidentally kicking someone out because, like, the number keeps on changing, but that just might be me. Okay. If you can't get in by...
Not working.
Wait. Are you typing in the PIN correctly? It should be 9544982.
Let me check.
Okay. Let's wait until 8:10, and then if you can't get in, I'll just start for everyone else, and then you can try like during the game. Because I don't want to hold up. Okay, I see that you're in. So is everyone good? Okay, I will start now then. Alright, genetics, week 1. Let's see who knows stuff already. What are genes?
Ants.
Don't shout out the right answer.
Oh my god, why you have to say?
SMH. Alright, very nice. Good job. What are alleles? I'd say this one is a bit harder. Yes, okay, so chromosomes, or I'll explain all of this later, but yes, this is just pre-session Kahoot. An allele that is always expressed if present is dominant, recessive, suppressive, oppressive. Nice. Okay, good job, people. Mason seems to be in first place. Chromosomes are made out of what macromolecule? Proteins, carbohydrates, lipids, or nucleic acids? Nice. Okay, so we'll look at this today, so don't worry if you don't get it. What base does guanine pair with? If you don't know what guanine is, don't worry, you're good. We will go over this, but just keep this in mind.
Guanine sounds like a drug.
It's actually not a drug because it's very helpful to the body. So, okay, so yes. It's okay. Good try, Alan. We'll go over this later. Which of the following processes, what is the correct order of processes that turn DNA into RNA into protein? This is a bit hard. Okay. Guanine does not bind with adenine. So we'll look at it later, but adenine and guanine actually have the same structure, so they can't bind with each other. And cytosine and threonine have the same structure, so they have to pair with each other. Answering question in the chat. What process drives genetic diversity? Yes, Ethan? Did you raise your hand, or was that an accident? Okay, nice. Okay. True or false? Color blindness is a recessive disease.
True.
Okay. We'll see. We'll look at this more when we're talking about pedigrees and stuff, which is like a few weeks after. This is just like a basic overview into what we're going to cover the entire course, so if you don't know anything, like, don't worry about it.
What's a pedigree?
So I'm glad you asked. A pedigree is like a visual representation of a family tree and like diseases that run in the family tree. So for example, females are circles, males are squares, and an affected male would mean that like this male has a disease. It would be shaded in. So it actually lets you see patterns of inheritance, which is how diseases get passed down. We'll look at that in like week 4, maybe? Okay. What describes the process at which favorable traits are kept in a population? Okay, nice. So Evo Devo is actually evolution and development, which is a whole nother branch of biology that we're not going to be looking at.
You covered that like the last one. That's how I.
Yeah. Okay. What is the raw material of evolution? We're going to be looking at this today. Mutations, yes. Mutations cause genetic diversity, which causes evolution. Genetic diversity isn't the raw material. What is the most notorious gene editing technology? Nice, okay. PCR amplifies certain sequences of DNA, and it doesn't actually edit them. Okay, let's look at the podium. It's me. I don't know who me is, but good job. Ever, wow, very nice. Who's first? Okay, congratulations. Nice, okay. So let me exit. Okay, so going back to the lecture. So that was a brief introduction into what genetics is. So what actually is genetics? So genetics is the study of heredity and genes. So basically, genes are a unit of heredity which is transferred from a parent to offspring and is held to determine some characteristic of the offspring. So it's basically how parents pass down characteristics to their children, and it determines what we look like, what diseases we may be more vulnerable to or be more likely to get, and what our metabolism is. So for example, some people are more athletic than others. That's also part of genetics. And it's important because because genes tell our body how it's going to work and what traits it's going to have. So that was our little introduction to the material. Now I'm going to go into like the actual welcome to the class. So hello, my name is Emily. I'm going to be your instructor for this class this session. I am a rising junior and I live in Maryland. Last session I taught fossils. I am definitely a technology grandma, so just be patient with me if I like accidentally close out of all of Zoom halfway through the class. Contact information for if you ever have questions. My Instagram is that, my email is that, and my Discord and the server is that. And so now you can just introduce yourself however you want, or don't introduce yourself. It's really up to you. But I'll give like 1 minute for everyone to just be like, hi, I guess. What is bathroom humor? What does CRISPR mean in this context? Minecraft is cool, I agree. Hi, my name is Peppa Pig, yes. What is it? Dismouth DSMP. Me6 sucks. It's not useful. Me6 is just trying its best. Okay, moving on. What did I just do? Oh, I opened my email by accident. See, this is what I mean. Okay. So, in the next few weeks, we'll be exploring the world of genetics and how our daily lives are affected by them. So, some general rules to follow throughout the class. The chat will always be open. Just make sure nothing crazy happens, everything's appropriate, no one's being mean. Always ask questions. You can unmute them, you can type them. I'll be looking at the chat. Kahoot names or like just general game names can be anything as long as they're appropriate. So the general structure of the classes will be activity, lecture, activity. And so our course schedule is there. I'm not going to read it to you, but yes, this is what we're going to be covering. Why did it just go back? Okay, anyway, so now we're going to be jumping into actual genetics. So the fundamental material that drives all of genetics and all of this happening is DNA. So what is DNA? DNA is basically the hereditary material that carries all of the information throughout our bodies. So if we were like a dish or something, the DNA would be the cookbook, the recipe that is used to create us. Okay, and it stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. It's found in the nucleus, but it's also found in some mitochondria, as well as basic, like, it's found in the cytosol for prokaryotes, which don't have membrane-bound organelles. We'll look at that later. If that doesn't make sense, don't worry. So DNA is made out of 4 base pairs, and that's what you see in like the ladder, the steps. Those are base pairs. So there are 4 base pairs. They're adenine, threonine, guanine, and cytosine. You just really want to remember ATGC. And these nucleotides are made out of a nitrogenous base, a sugar, which is deoxyribose in DNA, and a phosphate group. So that's what makes a nucleotide. And so the order of these bases determines how the DNA will be transcribed and folded into a protein. So essentially, okay, I'll explain all of this in the next few slides, but essentially DNA makes RNA, which makes proteins, which is why DNA is important. And the order of these bases determines what protein it's going to make. So DNA is shaped like a double helix, as you can see. It's like a ladder. So the backbone, so the actual ladder swirly things on the side, are made out of the sugar and phosphate groups, and the actual nitrogenous bases are the ladders. Okay. So what are macromolecules? So DNA is a nucleic acid, as you saw from the Kahoot, and it's one of the 4 kinds of macromolecules. There's a typo there. But anyways, so all of the macromolecules are polymers, and they're made out of smaller bits called monomers. And so the monomers of DNA is just a nucleic acid macromolecule, and the monomer of nucleic acid are nucleotides, which are the bases that we saw earlier, the A, T, G, C. Examples of nucleic acid include DNA and RNA. We'll see what role RNA plays later. And the uses of nucleic acids in the body is that it carries genetic information. So the next main group of macromolecules we're going to be looking at are proteins, and they are made out of amino acids, which are these chemical structures with differing side chains, which determines what amino acids there are. They're used for a lot of different things, like making proteins that are enzymes, which speed up chemical reactions, hormones, which control various functions of the body, and antibodies, which help fight off pathogens. I have no idea what's happening in the chat right now, but let's not talk about drugs because that shouldn't be talked about. There are a lot of uses for proteins. Like I said before, enzymes speed up reactions, hormones control various functions of the body, antibodies fight off pathogens. They're also building blocks, so structures. So like, I guess just like your skin and other organs, they all have like some component of protein because it makes up structures. Yes, I will be posting the slides in Google Classroom, so look out. Wait, let me just send the link into the chat right now, so if you guys want to follow along, you can. But everything will be posted in the Google Classroom. So the other 2 types of macromolecules are carbohydrates and lipids, and we're not too concerned about that for genetics, so just know that carbohydrates are used for short-term energy and structure, while lipids are used for long-term energy protection. So like, it's because lipids are fats, they're waterproof, also messengers, so like signaling chemicals. So what is RNA? So DNA is deoxyribonucleic acid. RNA is ribonucleic acid because the sugar of the backbone is ribose, not deoxyribose. And it's often nicknamed the DNA photocopy because it has a major role in copying the DNA in the sequence that's DNA to RNA to protein. So there are 3 main types. rRNA, which is ribosomal RNA. So the ribosome is actually a place where RNA is translated into proteins. So the RNA complex is made out of partially of RNA. mRNA is messenger RNA, which actually transcribes the template DNA. We'll look at all of this like in the next 2 slides. So if you have no idea what's going on, like don't worry about it. The tRNA actually brings the complementary base pairs during the process. So you just need to remember some basic key differences between DNA and RNA. So as you can see in the right chart there, deoxyribonucleic acid versus ribonucleic acid. So the bases are a really key difference. So usually A would pair with T in DNA, but in RNA, oh, I think I've been pronouncing thymine as threonine. Sorry, that's my bad. Yeah, the T base pair is thymine, my bad. Okay, so A pairs with T in DNA, but then A pairs with U in RNA. So you need to remember that it's T in DNA, but U in RNA. And then G and C pair again in both of them. So what is the central dogma? So this is what I've been kind of referring to this entire time. So it's the flow of genetic information from DNA to RNA to proteins. As you saw in the macromolecule slide, proteins are kind of like everything. Like they have a lot of uses, and so that's why it's really important to understand this. So most of the useful DNA actually codes for proteins, and it's how genes are expressed. So ultimately, DNA ends up in its final stage as protein. So most genes are protein coding, but there's a lot of genes that aren't, and we're going to look at how to deal with them right now. So the first process in the central dogma, which is the flow of genetic information, you turn the template DNA into RNA. So this happens in the nucleus, which is like the compartment of the cell with all of the genetic information. It's like the city center, if you would consider the cell a city. So RNA polymerase is an enzyme. So something you need to know with enzymes is that most of them end with ACE. And can anyone tell me what an enzyme is?
It's like this material thing.
Okay, yes, it is a material that speeds up a chemical process. Okay, just wanted to make sure you guys knew. Okay, so RNA polymerase is an enzyme that speeds up linking the complementary RNA base pairs that match the template DNA. So first, the DNA is unwinded. So you see it's a double ladder, right? But then on the right, you see that it's split into two strands. And so RNA actually brings in the complementary base pairs for one of the split strands, making it a new RNA strand. And so as you can see, the pairings, they completely got rid of T, and the RNA polymerase brought the U base pair instead. So that was a lot, but broken down, transcription happens in 3 stages. First, we have initiation, which is RNA polymerase attaches to the promoter, which is a segment of the DNA that basically signifies, hey, I'm ready to be transcribed. And then elongation is when RNA actually adds the complementary base pairs. And then termination, which is factors that cause the RNA polymerase to stop adding base pairs and remove itself. So after it removes itself, you have this newly made mRNA template from the actual template strand. So this strand would be called the coding strand, and the DNA template would be called the template strand. So in eukaryotes, which are basically the cells of more complex creatures, so like animals, we have membrane-bound organelles, and organelles are just like the mitochondria, the nucleus, the mitochondria, the nucleus, Golgi apparatus, all those are organelles. Prokaryotes don't have those, but in eukaryotes, they do. And so after transcription, you actually have some modifications to the mRNA. And so the mRNA at this point would be called the pre-mRNA. And so, okay. No one has any questions? I just heard someone unmute. Okay, I'll assume not though. Okay, so the pre-mRNA has introns, and introns are the protein coding regions. So they're in between exons, which are actually coding regions. So that's when, like when I said most genes are protein coding, that means most of them are exons and not introns, which are in between the coding regions. So these are actually removed. And then, so the 5' in poly A tail protects the mRNA. And so these are additional modification structures made out of guanine and adenine. And so this prevents the mRNA from degradation in case the cell recognizes this as not part of its own. So now we have our coding mRNA strand. What happens then? So after transcription, translation turns the mRNA into protein. So amino acids are the monomers of proteins. And so this means that a bunch of amino acids form a big protein. And so amino acids are made out of 3 nucleotides, and that's a codon. So specific codons that you should remember are AUG is start, and UGG, or UAG, UGA, UAA, they're stop codons. So you know the nucleotides that we looked at for RNA? Can anyone tell me what the 4 nucleotides for RNA is? I'll give you a hint that it's the same as DNA, except the T changes to a different letter. What are the 4? Yes, okay. It's AGUC, yes, okay. So when the sequence is actually read, it's the base pairing is AU and GC, but yes, those are the 4 nucleotides. So each of the 3 nucleotides in a sequence actually codes an amino acid. That's what you see down in the bottom below. That's called a codon chart. A codon chart determines what sequence of nucleotides will actually code which amino acid. So, for example, if we look at UUU, that's phenylalanine, which is an amino acid. So translation takes place in the ribosome, and that's when tRNA or transfer RNA carries anticodons with amino acids attached to them. So anticodons basically match the coding mRNA, and it carries the respective amino acid. So it also has 3 stages. So initiation, where the ribosome assembles around the mRNA, and tRNA carries methionine, which is the start amino acid. So AUG is where all translation starts. That's like the sequence that tRNA recognizes so that it can start bringing amino acids. And then elongation, new amino acids are added. And then finally, termination is when they reach a stop codon, which is UAA, UAG, or UGA. So the protein then folds after it leaves the mRNA strand. And so it gets sent off to various places to do its job. The actual folding of protein results from the interactions between the amino acids, but we're not going to go into that. So that was a lot. So at this point, I'm going to stop here for a second and just ask, does anyone have any questions? Not, I expect everyone to do extremely well in the activity after this then. Okay, so what are mutations? So mutations are changes in the nucleotide sequence that are not supposed to be there. Yeah, okay, I will slow down. Okay, we might not get through all of the slides, but that's okay, but I will move it to next week. Okay, so what are mutations? So mutations are changes in nucleotide sequence that are not supposed to be there. So we saw the DNA, we saw how different base pairs code different proteins and how that actually works. But sometimes, like, various enzymes of the reactions don't do their jobs, and there's a mismatch. So, for example, maybe G is actually accidentally paired with A, and the body doesn't catch it. So that's how mutations are formed. And so these mutations can result in new proteins. And if this protein is good for adaptation and living in the environment, it gets passed down. And that's why mutations are the raw material of evolution. They just give organisms new traits. And so what actually causes mutations are, they can be spontaneous factors, so like the body not doing its job, but they can also be environmental factors. For example, UV radiation and also benzene, which is a common chemical found in like cigarette smoke, I believe. So like smoking can cause mutations. And the thing is, while mutations can cause people to gain new favorable traits, it can also cause diseases like cancer, which is like the most common, which is when a cell goes out of control and multiplies way more than it needs to. And also sickle cell anemia is caused by a mutation. It causes your red blood cells to be a weird shape. So what are actually chromosomes and alleles? So chromosomes are made out of proteins, specifically histone proteins and DNA. So chromosomes are found in the nucleus of every cell in the body, and so different genes are arranged on different chromosomes. And so they actually contain a very large majority of genetic information. So as you can see on the photo in the bottom left, at different places, there's like different genes that determine your eye color, blood type, hair color, how fast you grow. So these chromosomes are found in every nucleus and they carry lots of information. So humans have 23 pairs of chromosomes. So chromosomes always come in pairs according to their shape. As you can see in the bottom right, I'll explain more about that image later. But basically, the 23rd pair of chromosomes are sex chromosomes. So they determine whether you're biologically female or male. So if you have two
Why
X
don't you say
chromosomes,
gender chromosomes?
okay, I'm not gonna go too deep into this, but gender and sex are two different things.
Yeah, but
technically.
sex also means another inappropriate thing, so it's better just to say gender.
Okay, so we're gonna stay PG here, and because like actual biological sex is something we're gonna be talking about throughout this course, you should get comfortable with using this in a biological way that talks about your body. And we're actually gonna be talking about like mating and random mating and how that contributes to a population. But because that's the appropriate term, I'm going to be calling them sex chromosomes. So if you have two X chromosomes, then you're biologically female, and then if you have two, or if you have one X and one Y chromosome, then you're biologically male. So alleles.
What if you have two X's?
If you have two X's, you're female. If you have one X and one Y, you're male, and it's impossible to get two Ys. I'll explain that. Okay, I'll just explain that right now then. So basically, every individual has to have a female parent and a male parent to be actually born. So because females have XX and males have XY, you get one chromosome from each parent. And you have to get one chromosome from your mom because your mom has two X chromosomes, that means it's guaranteed that one of your chromosomes has to be X. But then you can get either X or Y from your dad. So you do have a 50-50% chance of being biologically female or male. Okay, we're gonna be talking about all of this later. So people aren't born like biologically. Okay, gender and sex are like two completely different things. So I'm going to be referring to this as like biological sex, but there are like mutations with your sex chromosomes. So for example, if you can have like one X chromosome, that's called Turner syndrome, and that can result in like physical abnormalities, and you can also get like XYY, Klinefelters, and like be, I guess, infertile in some cases. But yeah, okay, so gender and biological sex are completely different things. I'm gonna stop this conversation here because I think it might get insensitive. So I'm gonna ask everyone to stop talking about this and let's just move on. Yes. Okay, so in the bottom right is something called a karyotype. So a karyotype is basically a visualization of all of the pairs of chromosomes in your body. So I'm sure you guys are familiar with Down syndrome. So from a karyotype, we can actually tell what diseases people have. So if you have like three chromosomes in chromosome pair 21, then you have Down syndrome. So that's how we can use chromosomes to visualize our genes and where like we're abnormal. So what are mitosis and meiosis? So they're the two processes in which cells can actually divide, because obviously you're not just one cell, you have to be made out of multiple cells. So mitosis is asexual reproduction. So there is one parent. It's not genes from two different sources. So it results in two diploid daughter cells. So a term to remember, diploid means that you have
Wait, so
a full set of
meiosis is
chromosomes.
the one parent cell?
No, mitosis is one parent.
But you said meiosis, I'm pretty sure.
Wait, okay, this is a typo. I will fix this right here. Okay. Hang on. Help. Okay. So meiosis is sexual, so it's two parents. So like the way we are created, that's meiosis. And then mitosis is asexual, it's one parent. Sorry if I said something different before, but yes, mitosis is asexual. So diploid means that you have a full set of chromosomes. So everything you saw in the karyotype, like it's like 2, 2, 2, it's like different sets. But then in meiosis, it's 4 haploid daughter cells. So that means they're missing one chromosome of each set. So you only have 23 chromosomes as opposed to the normal 46 in a human cell. So we're going to be talking about something called the cell cycle. And so during interphase, which is everything that's not the actual reproduction of the cell grows, it replicates its DNA, and then it grows some more, and it gets ready for the separation. And then, so how DNA replication actually works is that an enzyme called helicase unwinds the ladder shape. So as you can see, it's like 2 ladders. Helicase actually opens it like a zipper. And then primase creates a primer, which allows the DNA polymerase to add DNA nucleotides. So you end up with 2 DNA fragments. So you can see in the diagram on the right, there's some enzymes that I'm not going to be going over, but that's generally how it looks, and that's how DNA is replicated. So meiosis, the reason why you actually get genetic diversity from meiosis is because you have 2 parent cells, and then during one of the phases, the chromosomes actually like cross over with each other, which results in new combinations. Ooh, okay. So Vedant just messaged me. I saw this really nice diagram. It was like two parents, sperm and egg meiosis, diploid mitosis, baby. Yes. Okay, so you get a sperm and an egg from each parent, and those basically contain cells that undergo like crossing over, and then you get different gene combinations. So yes, that's how it works. So just a diagram. I'm not going to be like going too in depth with this, but this basically shows the difference in steps. So as you can see, like you get in the right, or sorry, in the left, you have like red with red, blue with the blue. But then in the right, you get like red with blue and blue with red. And it's like different combinations. And that's why meiosis results in genetic diversity. So what are genotypes and phenotypes? So genotypes is the actual combination of alleles that an individual has for a trait. So it's basically all of your genes and the alleles on your chromosomes. So there are three general types of genotypes that you can have for a trait. You're either heterozygous, homozygous dominant, and homozygous recessive. So yes, like Rajat said to me, so I think a really common representation of genotypes is like round versus wrinkled seeds in pea plants. That's a pretty famous experiment. We'll look at that next week, but this is just basically a segue into next week. So for example, if you have a round, or actually, let's just look at the flamingo example on the right. So if A is the dominant trait, that's why it's capital. And A indicates red. So if you're homozygous dominant, that means that you have two big A's. If you're heterozygous, that means you have one capital A and one lowercase a, and the lowercase a is the recessive trait. But you see, the dominant trait always masks the recessive trait in a heterozygous situation. So that's why the flamingo is still, is that even a flamingo? Because it's not standing on one, okay. Anyway, but the bird is red because the dominant trait masks the recessive trait. But if you have two recessive, then the recessive trait shows up. Really? Oh wait, to be fair, I've never seen a blue flamingo. It's a bird. We don't know what type of bird it is. Okay.
What is this about? I came late.
Okay, hi. So this is genetics. So we just basically went over the fundamental of genetics today. You can look at the slides. Wait, let me see. Let me just like paste the slides and you can look over them. So if you have any questions, just like contact me if you don't understand something. So yes, it is. So if you have three, you can't have more than two. Okay. This is like Pedigree week 3 stuff. Let me get through the phenotype and then I'll answer that. So the phenotype is the actual observable trait. So it's like red or blue. The genotype can be like AA or like big A, or little a, little a. So it's the actual trait that you observe. So do you guys have any questions? I'm going to answer the what if you have 3X or Y genes. So in genetics, there are a lot of what ifs. But the good thing is that we've actually figured out a lot of the what ifs. So if you have 3X chromosomes, that's called Klinefelter's syndrome. Wait, let me just confirm that real quick because I am a bit rusty. Okay, never mind. Klinefelter's is just if you have an extra Y. So if you're like XXY and if you're like XXY or XYY, it's not possible to get 3X chromosomes. So yeah, we're gonna be looking at all of this in week 3 because that's when we actually get into like the diseases and stuff, which is interesting. But yeah, it's not possible to get 3x or 3y, it has to be like xyy or xxy. So if you guys don't have any more questions, we will be doing a gym kit. I'm assuming no one has any questions because you guys aren't. Oops,
What's
okay.
a game kit?
You'll see.
Hold on.
It's something Eleanor from this
Is
class
it
actually
optional?
introduced.
Is it optional?
I mean, it's like kind of a Kahoot, so you just be doing it right now.
But is it optional?
I mean, yeah, technically I can't force you to do anything. So,
But okay.
okay, so you guys can pick the mode.
Can we try like Can we do draw that? I like draw that. Wait, can we try? Can we try?
Which one?
Human versus zombies. Oh yeah, human versus zombies.
Yeah.
Okay. I think most people are saying human versus zombie, so this week we'll do that, but in the following weeks. So basically after we do one of them, we're gonna like not do it again. So we're doing human versus zombies this week. I will not be giving you guys an insane amount of cash.
What about you just give us $10?
No.
Yeah, I'll give you guys 100.
Why can't you just share?
as well. Is this like a mini Kahootish thing?
Yeah, it's like, I guess you can have a Kahoot, but you can also do a lot of other modes. I know there's like an Among Us mode.
I've never really done.
To answer Richard's question, yes, I did teach fossils last session. Hello again, I think.
Wait, can you wait just a moment?
Yeah, yeah, I'll wait for everyone to get in.
I think I'm in. Wait, get ready. Oh. Wait,
Okay.
what is this? I just clicked on something and I don't know what happened.
Okay. I'll wait until 8:54 and yeah. Is everyone in? If no one speaks, I'm gonna assume everyone's in. Okay, we are starting. Okay, these are the teams. I don't even know what like the difference is. I just assume it's your teams. Okay. Why are you guys both down 7? Why are you guys decreasing at the same rate? I'm very concerned. Oh, do you just like lose stuff?
Yeah, it says losing
Automatically?
1.5 health per second in the shock.
Oh, yikes. Well, I guess you guys have to actually do stuff then. Why is nothing happening? Alright, guys. Let's.
We needed more money. Everything's so expensive.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Ooh, potato updated money per question to level 2. Oh, jury upgraded insurance level. Oh, okay. Now we're getting action. Very nice. Okay. You guys hear the music?
Too loud.
Okay. I don't know how to turn it down, so I'll just turn it off then. No one has attacked any other person, and I'm very concerned.
That's because it costs a lot of
Because
money.
it's so expensive.
Yeah, it's
Okay, I'm
really
sorry.
extremely expensive.
Wait, so can you guys earn money? I assume you guys can earn money.
Yeah, you can earn money by answering questions correctly.
Okay, then you guys should definitely just answer questions correctly.
Yeah.
Oh, attacking costume.
And if you get it wrong, you can also lose money.
Oh, shoot, okay. I think I should have made the money higher. It's okay, you live, you learn. No one's perfect, guys. Invaluable life lesson.
There's barely any money. So poor.
Okay, well, sometimes in life you hit a roadblock and you have to work your way back. And sometimes you just don't have money. So that's why you should work hard and answer those questions. Earn money.
Dumb life, if only it was easier.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I can leave.
Okay.
Everybody just save up money to get like the $250 thing. Because then you basically win once you get that.
Okay, nice. Zombies are doing stuff.
How did you get so much?
What? Oof. Oh, well, zombies got sabotaged too, so. Ooh, humans are paired. Oh, you guys are like even now. Or no, humans are down. We'll stop in a minute, so you guys leave on time.
Can we continue after class, like a bit?
Okay, yeah. Wait, okay, I'm gonna just do the closing remarks right now then. So, there'll be no homework for this class because I found that people don't really do them. But like, so, again, all of my contact information is here. If you have any